And Officer Tom, State Trooper Tom, got called out in the middle of the night to a drunk driving accident. The drunk driver actually ran into gas pumps. And with that, the suspect just put out his hands and said, "If I'm that stupid, I need to go to jail. Arrest me." And most of the time, I often hear within the voices of those who have substance abuse disorders that they often feel lost in fear, grief, and shame. And these parables reveal to us God's reckless love. A love that just abandons everything and goes in search of us. God never tires, never gives up on us or anyone. God continues to seek out and search out and continuously recklessly love those who are hurt and disappointed and been shamed by our church. State Trooper Tom, Officer Tom actually is a nephew of mine, and he's a state trooper in upstate New York, up in the Adirondack Mountain region. And not long ago, he told me this very interesting story of a call that he got called to, an accident. He went to the scene of an accident. He told me the story. And Officer Tom, State Trooper Tom, got called out in the middle of the night to a drunk driving accident. The drunk driver actually ran into gas pumps at a gas station. Thankfully, nothing exploded and no one was hurt. Thank God. When Officer Tom arrived onto the scene, the suspect was nowhere to be seen. Just the car crashed up to the gas pumps. And again, it's in the middle of the night. So where could this man have run to? So Tom went out back of the gas station where the woods were, and he noticed that some of the bushes were disturbed, so he realized that the suspect had run into the woods. And as Tom went further and further in the woods, in the midst of the darkness of that night, he could see this man, an intoxicated man, running through the woods frantically, banging into trees because it was pitch dark, banging into trees, running out of sheer panic. And just then Tom took his flashlight and flashed the lights upon our intoxicated suspect. And immediately he stopped in his tracks. And Tom went up to him and said, "Can we help you?" And the suspect just looked up at the trooper and just said, "Well, you must be Superman. You must be Superman. You're not even out of breath. You've been chasing me for hours. You've been chasing me for hours, and you have not even broken a sweat." And Officer Tom immediately exclaimed, "I just arrived on the scene of the accident. I just arrived. I just got here." And this intoxicated, this drunken man just said, the lights went on, "You mean I've been chasing myself for the past hour?" And Officer Tom said, "Well, I'm afraid so. You've been running after yourself for hours." And he was all banged up, exhausted. And with that, the suspect just put out his hands and said, "If I'm that stupid, I need to go to jail. Arrest me." And off he went. I wonder what that man thought once he sobered up. I wondered what he thought when he realized that he had been running away from himself. You're probably aware that I do a lot of work with counseling with people with substance abuse disorders, with addictions. And most of the time, I often hear within the voices of those who have substance abuse disorders that they often feel lost in fear, in grief, and shame. And I often heard people tell me they feel so lost that they feel like they're constantly running away from themselves. They feel so lost. Not too long ago, a few months back, I had the opportunity to meet with other health professionals in the area of substance abuse disorders. And as we were meeting, a psychiatrist came forward and announced that there is a new addiction, just what we need, right? A new addiction. Hold on. It's consumerism, unbridled consumerism. And this psychiatrist explained, if Amazon comes to your house more than 3 times a day, you have a problem. In fact, if you have Amazon coming to your residence even 4 times within a week, you might have a problem. And often, the reason we get so caught up in consumerism, again, because we're running away from something. We're lost. We want to fill it with stuff. And meanwhile, this unbridled consumerism also has an effect upon our environment, upon our earth, and upon our resources. So again, sometimes we get so lost, we even lose sight of the goodness and beauty of creation that surrounds us. Today, Jesus, our gospel, is really all about something that is lost. A coin, a sheep, ourselves. But in the same very breath, our gospel is also about something found. Something found. Today, Jesus tells us 2 stories of a lost sheep, of a lost coin. And these parables reveal to us God's reckless love. A love that just abandons everything and goes in search of us. Just think of that, God's reckless love. A God who leaves behind everything, our past, our sins, whatever it might be, and goes in search of us. A Jesus who lays down his very life out of love for us, not waiting for us to get worthy, but comes to us, calls us and loves us as sinners. That is reckless love. This reckless love, this unconditional love, brothers and sisters, is not only contained within the walls of this church, and even though I feel it, and I feel it today, that's why I said we needed to turn to each other and just remind each other just how precious we are. It's not only contained within these walls, but God continues to search and to seek out, and God continuously to shower reckless love upon those in our own families who have left the church, who have left the faith. God continues to seek them out. God continues to love them. I have a nephew. He's my godson. And he's told me that right there in front of me, he said, I have no use for your church. But yet I know God continues to love and to seek him out. God never tires, never gives up on us or anyone. God continues to seek out and search out and continuously, recklessly love those who are hurt and disappointed and been shamed by our church, by our community. Brothers and sisters, God continues to search out and love those who don't even know that they need God. Holiness. The Christian life often happens when we stop running away from ourselves. When we stop running away from ourselves and recognize and name our brokenness. When we realize our emptiness. When we become vulnerable. That's good news, because right then, when we recognize our vulnerability, our emptiness, we create space. We create space for God to be found. God finds us in those spaces. Today's gospel is all about something being found. It is a celebration today of God finding us just as we are. And God finding us precious, beautiful, caught up in God's grandeur and light.